Everyone wears a mask, but to see what's behind it, you must ignore what they make visible. Watch for what they keep hidden. They cannot keep it hidden forever. Watch for the moment the mask starts to slip. You have been tricked, made to believe the quite lie of deception. Not always by malice, but by the ingenious human capacity for performance. The resume, the polished story, the curated personality, these are what I called the persona, a necessary social mask. But if you wish to know the true architecture of a person's soul, to see the bedrock upon which their character is built, you must look elsewhere. You must become a psychologist of the unconscious. The truth is not found in their grand gestures, but rather in their involuntary triggers and emotional subtleties. Not in their controlled narrative, but in the leaks and cracks of their composure. Today, I will give you two precise lenses, drawn from the heart of my psychology, to see beyond the mask with stunning clarity. If you are ready to see the world, and yourself, with this new depth, ensure you do not lose this knowledge by subscribing to this channel and liking the video. Consider this video your toolkit for navigating the human psyche. Now let's get started. Watch their reaction to the creeping shadow. The first and most revealing sign becomes clear when you observe their reaction to life's minor irritations, failures, and inconveniences. The stubbed toe, the spilled drink, the forgotten item, the critical email, the slow-moving cashier. This is how you can identify their shadow. The shadow, as I defined it, is the repository of everything we deny in ourselves. Our pettiness, our envy, our fragility, our raw and uncivilized impulses. In major crises, the persona is fortified. We rise to the occasion or collapse in a socially expected way. But in the small, unexpected moments, the guard is down. The autonomous, repressed shadow leaps into the driver's seat for just an instant, and the conscious ego prepares a performance. Watch closely. Does a trivial mistake by a waiter make them cold and contemptuous? Does a minor inconvenience like a traffic jam transform them into a vessel of seething rage? These are psychological ambushes. There is no time to construct a mask. In that split second of frustration, the gate between the conscious and unconscious swings open, and what emerges is the raw, unfiltered shadow. This is a window into how they handle the parts of themselves they find unacceptable, their own inner chaos, their own imperfect humanity. A person who meets small fragments of their shadows with patience, humor, or grace is often a person who has made some peace with their own inner darkness. They have integrated a portion of their shadow. A person who reacts with venom to a speck of dust reveals a shadow that is large, untamed, and has possession over the self. Consider the psychology at play. The shadow houses our repressed inferiority complexes, our pettiness, our impatience, our helplessness, our latent rage at a world we cannot perfectly control. A major problem is a worthy opponent for the ego, but a minor inconvenience is an insult, and the shadow is profoundly sensitive to insult. Jung's examination of the persona and shadow working together to protect the ego will help you see these signs with ease. The response of disproportionate contempt. This is the clearest signal. When a person responds to a server's mistake or a subordinate's minor error with coldness, sarcasm, or dehumanizing disdain, you are not witnessing a critique of action. Instead, you are witnessing shadow possession. The mistake has mirrored back to them their own hidden fear of being incompetent, foolish, or less than. Their violent contempt is an attempt to eject this unbearable self-image onto the other person, to scald the mirror so it stops reflecting. They have not integrated their own human fallibility. The response of collapsed victimhood. Another reaction is an immediate, total deflation. A sigh that seems to come from the depths of their being. Of course this would happen to me! This is not simple disappointment. This is the shadow's narrative of fatality and powerlessness seizing the microphone. It reveals a deep, unconscious identification with the archetype of the victim, a belief that the universe is personally hostile to them. This small event has become proof of their core myth of persecution. The response of rigid and humorless control. Observe the person who, when a spontaneous, messy change occurs, refuses to pivot and let it go. They become brittle, flustered, and insist on a rigid correction of the now pointless original plan. This reveals a shadow of chaos so feared that even a teaspoon of disorder threatens to flood their entire psychic dam. The humorlessness is key. The inability to see the absurdity of the moment shows a terrifying lack of distance from their own psychological infrastructure. They are the mask, and the mask is cracking under a feather's touch. Contrast these signs with the individual who has done the work of shadow integration. Their reaction to the same small shadow will be remarkably different. You might see a genuine laugh at the absurdity, a shrug that accepts the inherent unpredictability of life, a calm, solution-oriented focus on the fix, not the blame. This is not perfection. It is resilience. It demonstrates that they have made acquaintance with their own petty, impatient, chaotic inner critic. They have brought some portion of that shadow into the light of consciousness, disarming its autonomous power to hijack their mood. The inconvenience remains an external event. It does not become an internal revolution. So, you must train your eye. Do not be distracted by their curated story of grand patience and virtue. The character they have built is oftentimes difficult to spot while they are amongst the public or their peers. It is revealed when they're alone, frustrated, and think no one of consequence is watching. That momentary slip is a truth delivered directly from the unconscious. This first sign shows you the shadow in its raw, reactive state. But there is a second, more insidious way the shadow operates, not through reaction, but through projection. And to understand that, we must learn to listen in a new way. The second sign, projection of the shadow. The first sign shows you the shadow in a moment of eruption. The second sign is even more powerful. Projection is the psyche's automatic habit of expelling the inner world's content into the outer world. We dislike and disown a quality within ourselves, and we then perceive it, vividly and convincingly, in someone else. We are essentially seeing our own unconscious reflection in the faces of others. Instead of listening to the content of their judgment, listen to and identify the patterns and emotionally charged contents. What do they consistently criticize or idolize in others? This is the mechanism of projection, the psyche's primary method of exiling what it cannot tolerate within itself. We must understand that the unconscious is not passive. It is active and creative. When we refuse to acknowledge a trait within ourselves, be it greed, cowardice, stupidity, or even a dormant greatness, the psyche does not simply bury it, it expels it. It projects this disowned content outward, like a film onto a screen, and we then encounter it as an objective quality out there in another person. We are, quite literally, meeting ourselves in the faces of strangers. As an example, apply this shadow projection in this scenario. If someone is constantly surrounded by liars and cheats, where might they be dishonest with themselves? If someone is perpetually the victim of arrogant people, where might a hidden arrogance reside within them? Conversely, if they idolize someone as perfectly wise or powerful, they are projecting their own inner potential for wisdom and power outward. Their character is revealed not by the truth of their accusation, but by its consistency and emotional charge. This knowledge changes how you move through the world. If these signs have helped you identify who this might resemble in your life, share this video with a friend who would benefit from this clarity. And tell me in the comments, which of these two signs have you witnessed most powerfully in your own life? Your observation is data for the collective of souls worldwide. Now let us decode the specific patterns of projection that reveal character. The script of hated qualities. This is the most common and telling pattern. When an individual consistently describes the people in their life, such as ex-partners, bosses, colleagues, family, with the same negative labels, they are all narcissists. Everyone is so incompetent. People are inherently selfish. You are being given a direct readout of their disowned shadow. The narcissist hunter often projects their own unmet needs for special recognition, their own latent entitlement. The incompetent spotter frequently projects their own deep-seated fear of being exposed as a fraud, their own hidden sense of inadequacy. The liars and cheats theorist is commonly wrestling with their own unconscious dishonesty, perhaps with themselves, the stories they tell to preserve their self-image. The diagnostic key is the word all. It is the generalization that betrays the projection. They are not describing a specific person. They are describing the haunting, internal phantom they cannot confront. The golden other, the projection of the ideal image. Projection is not only negative, we also project our latent potential, our unlived greatness. This is often seen in rapid, intense idolization of a guru, a romantic partner in the honeymoon phase, or a charismatic leader. They see in this other person's superhuman wisdom, perfect strength, or divine love. This is a projection of their own inner sage, their animus, anima, the inner masculine or feminine, or the guiding symbol of the self. While this seems positive, it is equally revealing of their character. It shows a person who has given their power away. Their own capacity for wisdom, strength, or love is dormant and unconscious, so they must locate it in another. The character trait revealed here is a state of spiritual immaturity, a lack of conscious ownership of one's own wholeness, the trigger of irrational intensity. The true marker of a projection is not the criticism itself, but the irrational emotional charge behind it. A balanced observation such as this, "My colleague was unprepared for that meeting," carries little projection. But a venomous, personally felt outburst such as, "He's an utterly useless, lazy parasite who sabotages everything," is a statement drenched in projection. The excess emotion is the energy of the unconscious complex that has been activated. The person is not just criticizing another. They are, in that moment, fighting a ghost within their own cellar. The practice of listening for projection. You must become a detective of others' narratives. Stop listening for facts and start listening for myths. What is the recurring story they tell about the world? Is it a story of perpetual betrayal, of universal stupidity, of endless victimization, or is it of miraculous saviors? This personal myth is the elaborate stage play their unconscious has produced, starring the projected fragments of their own psyche. Carl Jung's teachings have the power to reconfigure your understanding of every relationship. If this has helped you bring a lifetime of confusing interactions into clear focus, share this video with someone who is ready to see beyond the surface, and like the video so more people can learn from Carl Jung. The ultimate application of inner work. I offer you a dangerous and transformative tool. The next time you feel a surge of hot, irrational dislike or blinding admiration for someone, pause. Ask yourself, what is it in me that I am seeing in them? Is there a laziness in me I despise, a cowardice, or a strength I am too afraid to claim? This act of recalling the projection is the very essence of psychological and spiritual growth. It is how you reclaim your disowned parts and move from being a puppet of the unconscious to a conscious participant in your own life. The mirror of self-knowledge. So you now possess the two most important lenses through which you can see the signs. The reaction to the small shadow and the content of their projections. Use them not as weapons for judgment, but as sacred tools for navigating the complexity of human relationships. They will grant you the clarity to discern integrity from illusion and maturity from hidden fragility. But I must offer this crucial, final warning, the cornerstone of all my work. These signs are a two-way mirror. As you turn them on the world, you should also have the courage, every day, to turn them on yourself. What petty irritation today revealed a crack in your own armor? What person did you unfairly demonize or blindly idolize this week? And what does that say about the territory you have yet to explore within your own soul? The ultimate goal of this knowledge is not to become a cold judge of character, but to become a compassionate architect of your own. To see others clearly, you must first be willing to see yourself with ruthless honesty and infinite mercy. In that sacred act of reintegration, you build a soul worthy of its own depth and admiration.